Did you know that in Kisumu there's an affordable, classy 3-star hotel? I am talking about none other than the truly unique Vic Hotel with such a gorgeous ambience.
Welcome to the Vic Hotel.
Truly unique. Welcome everybody to Dichol Uncensored show. We are coming to you live from the Vic Hotel. Today we have an amazing story with a very powerful lady. We are looking at collecting yourself from the ashes and rising again. I'm your host, Winnie Wadera. So on set, we have the Berry. We all know her as the Berry, but today we have an opportunity to actually learn her real name. And she's gracious enough to share with us her personal story. I cannot personally wait. She's such a strong girl, but you never know what some people have been through to become strong as they are right now. And so welcome on set once again, Berry.
My name is Benta Charlotte Achieng Meda. I am the daughter of the late Mr. Donald Meda and Emily Adhiambo Meda. I run a catering company here in Kisumu. I am a good cook, so I decided to venture into that. I actually grew up in Manyata.
Yay!
Yes.
Representing.
And Anya Manyata, as it is right now. So there's nothing much about growing up in the slum. There's nothing interesting about it, but I love it. I still live in Manyata. And we were a small family. I have 3 sisters. I am the firstborn. And yeah, that's just it.
So you have an interesting love story. Yeah, that's the one that really got my attention. So how did it begin?
I actually met my ex-husband in church. Yeah, growing up, I was a church girl. We used to go for teen affairs and all that, and that's how we met.
So what was he doing in church? Like, was he ministering? Was he serving? Or was he just a church goer?
He was just a church goer. We were just church goers.
How old were you guys then?
I was 16 when I met him.
Yeah. And then you moved in together at some point.
Yeah, but not immediately. We dated for a while. We actually moved in together when I was 23.
That was in our African context. Our parents still hold on to us.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be relatively young.
Yeah.
What was your parents' feeling about you moving in together at the age of 23?
My dad was crazy about it. He actually didn't like the guy for me. So he was crazy, but he said, if that's what you want, then so be it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how was the process of you living together? Did he come home officially? Yeah. Did he speak to your people? Did he do the dowry, whatever?
Yeah, we did all that. We did all that stuff because my father was overprotective of me, so we had to go through all that stuff for me and him to be together.
So he paid dowry?
Yeah.
Okay. And then so tell us about how it was now when you began living together.
So I have, forgive me for this, but it drains me sometimes talking about this. So we started living together in 2013. Yeah, immediately after my dad passed on. I was pregnant, and when he came home, I told my mom I wouldn't want to go before giving birth. So I asked him to wait a bit until I had given birth, then I could move in with him. So immediately after I gave birth, we moved in and we started living together as husband and wife. And I kind of liked it for the first 3-4 months. I liked it.
What did you like? We all have the marital bliss where, oh my God, it's honeymoon.
Yeah.
You want to baby someone. So imagine you're babying them and living with them, waking up to them. Yeah. So how is that feeling?
It's nice. It was heaven. Back then. It was heaven. And I really wanted that to be my happily ever after because I really loved the guy. So, I don't know. Everything took a wrong turn when my baby was 5 months. He started sleeping outside, he started acting funny, and because I saw my mom living with my dad, and my mom always told me, Russia's woman builds her house, and a stupid one will wreck it. So I really wanted to give my siblings that role model. Yeah, you know, people don't go into marriages and walk out of them.
Yes.
So I was really struggling, and up to some point I never even told my mama what was going on in my house. Yeah, but she could notice it because I was getting thinner. I didn't have this glow in me, and it reached a point he started hitting me.
Wow.
Yeah, so I couldn't even ask anything. Like, he will leave the house, come back as pleases, and he will drink a whole lot. He started just drinking all the time. You know, those things that make you feel so inferior.
Yes.
I felt like maybe I wasn't enough for him or something, because I felt like I had taken his whole life, so he was just paying back or something. And my baby was young then, and I had to live with all this. My friends knew, because my friends would see him doing all these things. They would tell me. And then he was that guy, if you ask him, so and so told me this, then he'll say, where is the evidence? And you know, since I didn't have the prima facie evidence, I could not say, this is the evidence. So he will turn that into an argument, and we will fight. It was crazy. It was really crazy. But I loved him. I can't lie. So I said, I'm going to work for my marriage, even if I'm becoming thinner. And then when I started staying with him, I was not doing anything. I was not working, nothing. I had stopped the catering business for a while because I was focusing on my baby, because I knew I had a man who would take care of me. And things started turning messy when now he will leave home and not leave food, not leave money.
How old was your baby when he would leave,
my
leave
baby
the house
was
without
5 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to like walk from his place to my mama's place, have breakfast at my mama's, lunch, dinner, then go sleep back at my house, you know. So basically I was living at my mama's place, just sleeping there. And he wouldn't care about it. It reached a point, my friends would bring me Pampers, they would send me money, because I had people I would share this with, but not my mama, because I knew my mama was crazy. So there was this one day he locked me and my baby outside. So he locked me and my baby outside. We were staying at their compound, so I don't know, I felt like I was being too much for the mother. So I just took my baby. It was cold that night, and I went to my mama's place and I told her what has been happening. And my mom was mad, she was furious, so she told me, no, we're going back to their place, I'm going to speak to his mother. So we went back there. My mama called him, then he came. I have never seen somebody disrespect my mama like that. He actually told my mama that I was being too much for him. Like, he had this mentality that I was from a rich background, so I wanted too much from him, which was not the truth, because this is a guy I started dating when we could have our dates inside I'm a batty house, so how would I even judge him for not being enough? So I had him speak to my mama, and his mom she's a lovely lady. Yeah. So his mom calmed us down and we spoke and everything was back to normal. I don't know. So my mama went back home and she asked me if I still want to stay with the guy.
You said yes.
I stupidly said yes.
We all say yes, honey. When we love.
Yeah, so for 4 days he was okay. He bought food. He was home. And then he had way too many sidekicks, way too many. And I knew all of them. Yeah, I did. I also had their numbers. Like I could call one and ask her, are you with him right now? Because he's in Teja and I need to ask him something. Or he didn't sleep home, are you with him? And then she could say, yes, he's here. And give him the phone. And that is my husband. So, I don't know, things went from bad to worse each and every day. Like, after losing my dad, I kind of got angry with God, so I never used to pray. I never used to pray at all about the situation. My mama could tell me, pray about it, but I never. I said, no, God took my dad away from me. I don't want anything to do with him. So I never prayed. But while I was married, my self-respect, my dignity as a woman, at some point, I felt worthless, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you think me this big right now, and when somebody will tell me, Charlotte, you're so fat right now, I'm like, yeah, let me be fat because I need to be, you know.
Yeah.
So
you were so skinny, you had lost so much weight.
I had. I wish you could see a photo. I had.
From hunger, depression,
yes,
stress.
all that. So, you know, my friends started talking, saying, I'm staying at my house, but feeding at my mama's house. You know, all those things can depress you. Mm-hmm. So, all of a sudden, this guy started hitting me all the time. Okay, when we used to date, he used to hit me. And then, you know, I think I used to look at that violence as a sign of love. Mm-hmm. That is what made all this thing become worse. Yeah. Because I used to think if a man beats you, it means he loves you.
Yeah.
So I would say, you get.
Yeah.
So
at least he's mindful.
Yeah. But I will look at the mistakes I'm being beaten for. He was beating me for his mistakes, you know. And I don't know. When my baby was now 7 months, we had a terrible fight. It was terrible. I was even taken to hospital because my toenail was cut off. Yeah. And I hit him with a bottle because now he was going to kill me.
You're defending yourself.
He was choking on me until I saw stars and I was seeing dead people. I tell people this and they are like, really? Wow. I felt like I was going to die. Wow. So I had to take the bottle. I love that guy. I hit him and I was still sorry. So he hit me like that, and I remember my baby was on bed and he was really crying, by the way, because this house was always commotion all the time.
Babies speak what happens in the environment.
A tiny bit of that glass cut my baby. Yeah, I went crazy. I was hurt, I was bleeding, but I was just thinking about my baby. So when I was in hospital, I stayed there and then went back to my mom's house. But then again, I told my mom, I'm going back to my house. My mom was like, you're being bewitched. I can't say anything about this anymore. My sisters were crazy. And then she was like, what picture are you showing your siblings? Because they'll think that now, being in an abusive marriage,
is what's normal.
Yeah.
It's acceptable.
So I went back, and for the first time, I actually told him, you guy, let's sit down and talk. Like, before we started staying together, we talked. So let's talk. We sat down, we talked. I think we made up. I think. But he just couldn't stop. He couldn't. And the women kept on coming. And I was thinking, I sleep with this guy without protection. He sleeps outside with other women without protection. He actually had another baby with another woman. Not even one, not two, not three, but 4. So I was like, all these 4 babies, it means we are not safe. We are not at all. So I was staying with my husband, but sleeping with my husband with a condom.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was going mad.
Yeah.
And I remember one time he came home, he was drunk. He hadn't touched me for I don't know how long. So that day, I also my mind drifted away from all that intimacy.
Yeah.
So that day he came home at around 3. I opened the door, and then he just said he wants to have sex with me. And I told him, I'm not in the mood to have sex with you. Talk less of even kissing you, because you're smelling alcohol and all that. And this guy just had his way with me, because he felt like he needed to have his way with me. I'm staying in his house. I don't know if that is also rape. I don't know.
That is rape.
Because I didn't want it.
That is marital rape.
So the next day I was torn, and for the first time, I am the one who actually walked out of the house and went home. I left my baby there with his mama. And I stayed at my mama's house for 2 days, then came back.
Wait, did you tell your mom what happened?
I think she'll even hear this and be like, you're crazy. So when she asked why I left my baby, I told her, no, I just need to rest, and his grandma has agreed. The mama had agreed she'll take care of my baby, so I just had to go. But I loved this guy. You know, I kept on going back.
For love.
So when I went back, he wasn't there. He had gone to Mombasa with some chick. So at least I had, you know, when his absence makes you feel,
Yeah.
I have the whole house to myself, and I don't know. I didn't feel like I wanted him to come back. I couldn't just find that feeling of needing him to come back. So when he came back, he was okay, I think, and we had some good time. I had forgiven him. I always forgave him for everything. But I don't know. What really made me walk out of the marriage was the mere fact that he would now look at beating me as a way of correcting me.
For every single thing?
Yes. He was so nagging now. And I'd do something. I am asthmatic, so sometimes when the sinuses hit me, I tend to have a blocked nose. Even if I want to remove it, it doesn't come out.
Yeah.
So this one time we were with his friends in the living room, and we were watching some movie. So I kept on, you know, I want to remove it, it doesn't want to come out. Then he was like, you are irritating me.
Wow, in front of
Yes.
your friends? Okay.
And I was like, you know my problem. And he was like, no, that thing is disgusting. I don't think I can even eat your food today. I was like, okay. So everything was just moving on worse every day. And the beating me part was crazy, because one time there was this neighbor of ours. She knew my people, so I think she knew my mom knew all these things. So one time it was my birthday, and I had some tiny celebration there, and my friends used to make this joke that we are going to have a birthday, Kendo Blackberry, the bago chiemo, but this guy is going to mess it up.
Always ruins the party.
Yeah, he always ruined it. All my birthdays, when I was with him, he ruined all of them. So this one time, a friend I knew came over, he hugged me, he bought me some present, then that was it. For him, that was crazy. So he hit me, and I remember he was taking my head and hitting it on the wall.
On your birthday?
Yes.
In front of your friends?
Yes.
Wow.
And he was this guy, everybody was afraid of him. So they could not even come separate us until when he hit my head like 3 times, then I fell down, then everybody went crazy. Okay, so my breaking point was when his other baby mama came back to town. She had moved out of town. So she came back, and since she was not staying far away from us, I knew she was back. And my ex-husband was that person. He would not mind if he knew that he was going to another woman. He actually felt like you should love him more for going, So the lady got back, and he started seeing her. I remember one time I was at home, and we didn't have water in the house, so I had to wake up in the morning at 5, go fetch water. As I was going to fetch water, I see him coming out of her house, and that got to me. Honestly, that got to me, and I can be very dramatic at times. So he came back to the house, he thought he was the boss and all that. I made drama. It was 5 a.m. and it was crazy. It was crazy drama. So I think he got mad because I was overpowering him. He was no longer that man.
Macho man.
Yes. So he just started hitting me again. And he hit me real bad. So that day I said, I'm not even going to hospital. I was bleeding by then. His mama was telling me, go to the hospital, go to the hospital. I said, I'm not going. If I have internal bleeding, let me bleed, let me die. So it reached around 8 a.m. I had some guy I knew. I called him and asked him to look. I said, I'm not even leaving this place with a tuk-tuk. I am using a mkokoteni. I told that guy, get me the next mkokoteni you can to my house right now.
You're full of drama.
And the mkokoteni came, carried my baby's cot, carried my clothes. I said, I am not living with anything I bought in this house. Stay with them. I don't want. I'm just taking my things, my clothes, my babies, and that was it. That was my breaking point. I left. I went into depression, and it was crazy.
Which year was this?
2013 still. I didn't stay there.
All these things happened under 1 year?
Yes. I didn't stay with him for more than 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So when I moved out, it was around October. Was it? No. It was not 2013. No, that's wrong. My baby was born in October, so it was 2014. Yes, around October, around my baby's birthday is when I moved out. So I called the mkokoteni guy. I didn't even tell my mama I was going home. She just saw me, and my mama cried.
That's 8 a.m., 9 a.m.
Yes, my mama cried. It's not every day you want your daughter to go get married and come back. Society views people who have been married before and divorced differently.
Right.
Especially in my hood, it's different. So my mama cried. But she said, the next thing I will have been receiving was your corpse. So I thank God you're back here alive. Nobody knew, not even myself, that I was going to move out of that house and I was going to stay. I actually knew I was moving. Actually, when the mkokoteni guy was coming, I was like, I'll just come back. But let me just coast this drama and go. But I was not going to come back. I was not going to go back. But I knew I was going to go back because that is the norm. It was always, And the whole issue, the marriage, the maltreating, the beating, it has given me a different view. The way I view men is so different right now.
How do you view men now? What do you think? What do you think of men?
You know, I'd meet a nice guy. I'd also know he's nice, but my gut feeling will always tell me, nah.
Don't change.
They're all the same. But then, when I was, sometime last year, I met some amazing guy. He's amazing, by the way. And we have been trying things out. It's long distance. And I don't know. I don't want to use the L word on him, but I know it's there. But there's something in me that tells me, what if? You know, I have a lot of what ifs.
You're a bit more skeptical now.
Yeah. And after my marriage, I always want to meet a man who is all in.
Yes, 100 plus.
I don't want to meet somebody who is giving me 60 and I'm giving him 100.
Right.
You know.
So now you're just taking it step by step, one day at a time.
Yeah.
And would you say you're happier now? Are you happy? Are you over the past?
I am happy. The past keeps calling.
Yes. Because it's soon. I mean, it's just the other day, 2017 is just last.
It keeps calling. But what can I do? I pray now. I went back to God. And whenever I feel like I'm not going the right way, I ask him, you guy, give me direction here.
And that's the best. That's the best way. I mean, nobody knows a man as the manufacturer. In that
so I tell God to give me like direction. The person I am with right now is kind of different. Yeah.
So when you spoke about both scenarios of your story, you share that there were some aspects of dependency on your partner, on your spouse. So, would you say that sometimes abuse is reinforced by dependency when you don't have your own financial stability? Does it sort of reinforce maltreatment from your partner? And what would you say to women about that, having just your own ability to stand for yourself?
Getting into marriage, I don't view it as getting into it because of economical stability, you know, because you can get into marriage and you're working, your husband is working, and still all these things would happen.
Right. So
I don't think the economic stability is the whole thing here, you see. And yes, it's good to get into marriage when you're economically stable, because it helps.
Some sort of income.
Yeah.
You don't have to be stable, but you have some sort of
yeah, because it helps a whole lot. Because in my situation, I used to go back home to eat at home because I didn't have a source of income, you see. But right now, if I get into marriage, I know I will not have to ask my husband for money for food, for soap, you get. He'll just come home and find it there, with or without him. Yeah, so it's good to enter into marriage with a little bit of economical stability.
Yeah. I mean, both of you have to give some sort of contribution to this.
True.
It's a partnership, okay? It's a partnership. And now, still on the past, in order to move on, you need to let go of the past. That's what we say, you know. That's what's politically correct. I know it's a struggle, letting go and forgiving some bits from your past. But what is your take on forgiveness for the two people that were in your life and it was not very pleasant? Have you forgiven them? Do you want to forgive them? Is it a struggle? Is it easy?
Well, I am. At some point, I was desperate to find my own closure. You know, finding your own closure is the best thing. Yeah. So, right now, I think I found that closure, and I have forgiven them. Much as me and them can never have anything else going on apart from hi. I I don't hold anything against them. Not at all.
What do you think is the community's role in marriage, in marriage between two people? What, just beyond your mother and your father and two families coming together entirely as a community, do you feel that there's something else they need to offer young people getting married? Initially, during our grandmother's days, there'll be like kikaos, where units where people are cancelled, and it's not 6 months to marriage. It's a process that someone grows with. But now we don't see that anymore. But do you still think that there's a role a community needs to play in marriage institution for young people?
When you get married, you're just not getting married to the man. You're getting married in a community. People know you. So, but it needs to be nurtured from when we are still young. You see, like right now, I can't say the community can tell me do this, do that. But when you start nurturing us when we are still babies, we know when we have to be submissive. Most of us nowadays are not submissive to our husbands. I can't lie about that. So the community needs to play a major role
in education,
in educating us.
Teach men how to be men.
Yes, exactly.
Respect is part of being a man.
Exactly.
And just keeping your boundaries, keeping your fists to yourself. That being strong does not mean being violent.
Exactly.
You can be strong without being violent. So those bits of education.
Yeah. Plus they need to tell the men not to beat up women. It's not love.
Neither is it reinforcing masculinity.
Nah, it's not.
Wow, interesting. So lastly, just speaking to young women who are eager to get married or just have a legal companion. We all are obsessed at some point in time. When we get to a certain age, we're all obsessed with, I want to get married. I want a man I call my own, or I want a woman I call my own. What are some of the lessons you learned that you can easily share with young women out there?
Number one is, don't be in a hurry to get married. Don't be in a hurry to be called Mrs. So-and-so. Because I for sure was in a hurry to get married. Because I thought I was going to lock him down. So basically, just let things flow. If you feel like this person is your one, then talk to God about it. Let God guide you through it. I think that is how I do my things now. And it has helped me a lot. Because there's no way you'd want to rush into a marriage to rush back out of it. See, so
1 year down the line, you're back on the very spot.
Yeah. So take your time. Don't rush into marriage. And just because somebody feels good physically for you, you don't have to tie them down and be with them for the rest of your life. Maybe that is not God's plan for you.
Wow, interesting. We will not be in a hurry to get married in Jesus' name. Okay, we'll take our time. It's important to take your time. Discernment plays a key role in just talking to God about this. Talking to God. No one knows a man better than the manufacturer, which is God. And no one knows a woman better than her manufacturer, who is God. So take your time, speak to God about it, but you know that you can always rise up from the ashes and begin afresh. That's what we're talking about today on Dichol Uncensored.